Hello class, in this video, we're going to be interpreting the slope and y-intercept of a regression line. In this lesson, we will be given the equation for the regression line, and it is our job to understand what the slope and y-intercept represents based on the context of a dataset. When we're interpreting the slope, we need to discuss how much the response variable is predicted to increase or decrease on average as the explanatory variable increases by 1 unit. Using phrases such as predicted to be and on average ensures that your response shows the understanding that the least squares regression line does not perfectly determine the value of the response variable given the value of the explanatory variable. To make it a lot more simpler for us to interpret the slope, I want you to be using this template over here to formulate your responses. Let's look at an example where we need to interpret what does the gradient represent. In this example, I've got the regression line and I know that my slope or gradient is equal to 0.53. To interpret and articulate what it represents, I'm going to substitute a few words and values into my template to demonstrate my understanding. In this example, the response variable is going to be my height, as I know that the response variable is always plotted along the y-axis. So I'm going to write height over here. Furthermore, I can also see that there's a positive association. Hence, I'm going to say that height increases, so I'm going to choose IN, and it's going to be increasing by the gradient, by my rate. In this case over here, it's going to increase by 0.53, and now I need to add in the units for my response variable. So in this case, that's going to be centimeters. So it's going to increase by 0.53 centimeters for each 1 month, because that's going to be the unit for my explanatory variable, increase in the age. So therefore, if I was to piece everything together, then this is what my response should look like. It should read, on average, it is predicted that height increases by 0.53 centimeters for each month increase in age. I strongly recommend that you copy down this template over here, as this is how the Year 12 assessors would like you to respond to these types of questions. Let's look at how do we interpret the y-intercept. When we are interpreting the y-intercept, we need to identify on average what is the value of our response variable when the value of our explanatory variable is equal to 0. Similarly, I also have a template that you could also refer to when you're formulating your responses. So let's see how do we actually use this template for the exact same example that I showed you earlier. Again, all we simply need to do is to substitute the appropriate words into the relevant sections as well as the values. In this example, we said that the explanatory variable was the age. The units for that is going to be months. The response y variable is going to be our height. The a value, which is our y-intercept, is equal to 75.4, and the unit is going to be centimeters. So therefore, if I was to put my answer together, it's going to be, on average, it is predicted when the age is 0 months, the height will be 75.4 centimeters. As you can see, using the template is pretty straightforward in answering these types of questions. Let's look at another example. Part AI of this question wants us to write down what is the value of our y-intercept. The value of our y-intercept is going to be equal to 30.8, and it also wants us to interpret the intercept in the context of these variables. So therefore, I will need to refer to my template to answer this question over here. Hence, my answer is going to be, on average, it is predicted that when the time spent studying is 0 hours, the mark will be equal to 30.8. Normally, you will have the unit for my response variable as well, but it doesn't say whether it's going to be the marks or percentage, so therefore, you just leave it unitless in this example. Part BI of this question wants us to write down the value of the slope. The slope is going to be equal to 1.62. And the second part of this question wants us to interpret the slope in the context of these variables. So similarly, I'll also need to refer to my template. So if I was referring to my template, the way that I'll answer it is, on average, it is predicted that the mark increases by 1.62 for each 1 hour increase in time that I've spent studying. To get used to writing these types of responses, I would now like you to answer the following questions from exercise 7H to get further practice. This is the end of the video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys again in the next one. Bye.